as opposed to whatever. This dude looks like a Danny DeVito character. A Danny DeVito script got struck by lightning, and this dude just creepy crawled out of the pages, right out into the real world. Okay, so I'm a TikTok head. All right, I get on the TikTok all the time, and I've always been aware of the existence of mega pastors, but I have never actually really paid all that much attention to them. They became interesting to me after I started watching The Righteous Gemstones. But I was in the Catholic Church growing up, which is an ostentatious and fundamentally evil organization, right? But there was a degree of restraint, I believe, that they exercised, most likely not because of any decency in their own hearts, but more like because they didn't want to upset the peasantry enough. You know, you don't want to let people in on it. Priests were always pretty well off looking by my standards. You never see a hungry looking priest, as my dad used to say. I've never seen a hungry looking priest. I guess these guys are called pastors or whatever the fuck. But switching from Catholicism to seeing these people in the Protestant faith, their pastors is fucking wild. It's just next level. Then if you're not aware of it, or if you're from outside of the Americas, we have something called mega churches, which are like pseudo-denominational, sometimes non-denominational or evangelical. There's a lot of, what are they called? Pentecostals. I think Pentecostals really started this tradition, and the Jehovah's Witnesses, from what I understand, to another degree. But it's a mix of a lot of American traditions from various churches, all sort of melted into one to create quite possibly the worst of all possible results. You have ecstatic service, charismatic service, or whatever they call it, which is where you, instead of doing like the traditional like Omni Domine, blah 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 blah, you stand up there, Kyrie eleison, you jump around, generally act like a fucking dipshit, and you're Sunday best. You fucking run around in circles and stuff. Speaking in tongues, I don't know if that's popular overseas. I haven't really seen a lot of evidence of it in other people's cultural media. I've seen it in person here. Sometimes our elected officials will speak in gibberish. A lot of the speaking in tongues stuff, by the way, it's been retconned for people saying like it's when the Holy Spirit takes you over and then you start skibbity. No, it's from hilljack fucking Protestant preachers would go around and they didn't speak any fucking Latin, and the books were in Latin, so they would just make shit up, and they would say quotes in Latin and just be, and as Jesus said, and you just make words that sound vaguely like a foreign language, and it gives you the ability to sound like you're preaching in like a different language. You know how like kind of it's very impressive when you see like a bilingual Muslim person who's talking to you in English and then they fucking bust out like 2 or 3 sodas in fucking like full on Arabic. It's very impressive. I'm not a big fan of most organized religions, but it's fucking that's like the most impressive shit. People just, Muhammad, God bless his name, SWT, whatever. They hit the whole fucking soda, finish it off. Like that's very impressive. You used to have to do that in Catholicism. You used to have to pray in Latin, but the Catholic Church went to too many places because they kept fucking the kids there and having to move on to new countries that they let Latin fall by the wayside, and it wasn't even the lingua franca. 2 lingua francas removed, right? It wasn't the language of people, and so no one knew how to speak fucking Latin anymore, and it kind of went by the wayside and was almost, I think it was formally eliminated from church services by Vatican II in the 1970s, if I remember correctly. That's the one that all the modern Catholics get fucking ass blasted about. But I digress. When I was a kid, you would hear Latin in masses too. That was like a flex. The priest would say, and as they say to the Father, fucking whatever, Kyrie eleison, miserere nobis mundi, fucking blah, 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 blah. I can't remember it all, but yeah, it's fucking, it's just, the Protestant version is just gibberish. It's just gibberishing, which is fucking awesome because it's the summation of American Christian denominationalism is just a guy in a suit, resplendent in wealth, literally saying gibberish to brainless, lead-poisoned fucking 50-year-olds. We're giving him all of his life savings. There's nothing more fucking American than that. If you can't speak a language, don't even make one up. Just say something that sounds vaguely like another language, and then say it's God talking through you. Like, why does God sound like a fucking 2-year-old with a brain tumor? I was Jehovah's Witness growing up. Glad I got out of that shit. Jehovah's Witnesses have things called district conventions that happen a few times a year, where lots of districts meet at a convention center for a weekend. So yeah, that may be part of how mega churches started. Yeah, we had a very large, actually, Jehovah's Witness convention thing that would happen in Cincinnati when I was a kid. I think people from the Catholic Church like protested it or something. I can't remember if that happened or not, or maybe they got mad about it. And I think like the preacher had, or our priest had to be like, don't go bother. They're allowed to do that. Don't go bother them. It's not our city. It's everybody's city. But we have a massive convention center, and there was a what do you call that? Jehovah's Witness church right next to my middle school when I was growing up. See, Ship says, I grew up heavily Protestant in an evangelical school, and I've heard some pastors and teachers say some truly unhinged shit you wouldn't believe. Yeah, it's wild. Because I'm Catholic, right? Like, it weirdly, like, ethnically Catholic. My wife fucking hates it when I say that. But it's like, it's true. That's like the best way to describe it is like I grew up in a super hyper Catholic-y fucking area. I'm an atheist now. But like my understanding of religion starts, my 0 point is Catholicism and moves out from there. So I'm like big church, dead guy on sticks, speaking in Latin, but for real, like you would get in trouble if you said the Latin words wrong when I was a kid. That was like serious issues. But like generally also, you never fucking talk about religion if you're a lay person with other lay people. Like that was also a thing. Like you could maybe say like, oh, I wish like somebody would come to church more kind of thing, like that kind of stuff. Like, oh, they don't go to this and that, like gossipy kind of shit was okay, because it was. But you would never like, God is working through me to like that shit, or like I want to pray for you. You would never fucking hear that. Or at least where I grew up from Catholics. Like no one would ever like, hey, I want to just sit here and fucking pray with you. Like that shit was weird because it's like you're all part of the same. Like you're not in like proselytization. Fuck no, none of that shit. No missionary work. No talking to other people about stuff. And maybe that was just kind of unique to Cincinnati, but like that was always the vibe. And then I started being around Protestants and stuff when I was in the military, and I was like, you guys are fucking unhinged. One of my favorite ones was there was a habit that some guys in the Marine Corps had of praying at meals, which is fine. If you want to pray at meals, that's okay. But they wouldn't like do like the typical, whatever. They would grab the edge of the table, like with both their hands and like that. Like again, the same thing that you do if you're about to have like a breakdown, but like the person that you're mad at is your kid and you don't want your kid to know. You're like, and like they would get like a little shaky and stuff. I'm like, what is this? That does not look healthy for you. Like with all due respect, practice any way that you want, but you're weirding me the fuck out because we're in the same room right now. All right, I'm trying to eat my jambalaya, and you look like you haven't shit in 2 days, and you're trying to pass one here on the bench. Like what the fuck is going on? Let's see. I grew up. Sorry. I have never seen this channel in my life. However, I am assuming from the title that this is one which is within my general interest. Hey, welcome to the channel, Dr. I Am. If you, maybe I'll actually have somebody subscribe because I'm pretty new while I'm on here, and we can see if my subscribe banner works. Cordell says, yes, join us now in hating on Catholicism. It is within your general interest. And bagel eating if that's your kink. It's the sluttiest of breakfast foods. JW churches are called Kingdom Halls. That's it. I knew it. They have a very, very unique name. I had several teachers imply the notion of manifest destiny was based. Oh yeah, I had that too. I had that too, but not even in Catholic school. That was in like public school when I fucking got transferred out. I got kicked out of Catholic school. They didn't like me. They didn't like me at all. They hated me. I got kicked out of St. Jude's in Cincinnati, Ohio. But yeah. Like the Protestant kids went hard, and it was very strange. Like one of my good friends that I was in the military with, generally normal. And then every once in a while, like it was like a full moon, and he'd be like, dude, can I save you? I'm like, what? Why do you keep saying it like that to me? He's like, dude, I know it's not, but you just need to be saved. All right. Everybody needs to be saved. I was saved. I'm like, bro, we get shot at and shit. All right. Like friends, people we know are dead, and none of the praying made that go. Why the fuck do I want to add an extra social engagement to my calendar? for this shit, and it sounds just so goofy. I mean, hey, like if you really have a lot of strength in your faith, you should be able to weather a little bit of teasing and stuff. I think, but we're gonna watch some of these. So, in to continue on the thread, the American religious tradition is fucking wild because we have created something that has propagated across the world called mega churches and mega pastors, guys like this dude, Jesse Duplantis, I think this is. He's not Kenneth Copeland. And so we're going to watch some of these, but these guys are unfucking immeasurably rich, insanely rich.
And I see this beautiful peacock by J. Strongwater. Oh, it's got 13,000 Austrian crystals on it. And there's this other female peacock. I said, who is she? That's his girlfriend. Man, that thing's beautiful too. Good Lord. I mean, just silver and jewels. And I said, good God Almighty, look at this thing. He said, well, it sells for $29,000 with tax. I said, how much is this girlfriend? And he said, I think it was $7,000 or $8,000. No, 29. $37,000 with tax for both of them. So I paid him, right? $34,000 plus tax, be $37,000. He said, okay, well, we'll ship it to you. I said, you don't need to ship it to me. I have my own plane. Well, you have your own plane? I said, yes, sir. I got a van downstairs. Put it in a box, and I'm taking it out of here. It will be in my white ballroom in my house by 3:30 this afternoon.
I have to like not look up where people like this guy live because I feel like this is a dude that carries a roll of cash on him. Like he breaks all the rules. If you were around anybody that committed crimes when you were a kid, you never talk like this, right? You don't talk about flex. You flex real quick in specific situations, right? This guy, I'm just like in my heart, I'm like, rob him, rob this motherfucker, rob him right now. In my head, it's like redlining. That's insane. I don't know what $29,000 for a golden peak. I don't know what the fuck Neiman Marcus is. That sounds like some shit that people like bet $500,000 on, you know, like or $5 million on in the last like stock thing, and then you just lose it all. It's gnarly, man. This dude's just up here talking. There's no way these people are anywhere near as rich as him, you know, and then they're just gonna give him money. It's gnarly. But we're gonna watch. We're gonna see where is this guy at. What is this? What is this like walk of fame for?
I have more classic cars today than I ever had in my life. I have more motorcycles today than I ever had in my life. God blessed me with it. And I did a TV program in my wife says, quit calling it a shop. It's a museum. I have a museum with classic cars and classic motorcycles. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Woo, isn't that pretty?
Oh, he brought it up for him? I thought that this was just fucking online. I thought this was Bishops and Bling providing the receipts.
981 points.
Jesus, man.
I'm in that museum.
In his defense, though, he probably bought, this is probably his first car he bought when he was like 40. You know what I mean? All these guys are like unfathomably fucking. Why did every single one of them is got white hair except for like the one black dude we ran across? He's like the only young guy, and then everybody else looks like They're that age that white guys hit sometimes, especially if they're rich, around like 50, where they all look like they're a second away from death for a half century. Like, this guy's probably looked the same basically since like 1972. You could have told me he was born in 1902 or 1952. I would believe every iteration of that statement.
I've been believing a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, I now own a Falcon 7X. It's mine.
These people don't even know what the fuck. Like, this guy up in the front doesn't even know what the hell to applaud for. You got bird?
Or if you go on TikTok, they eating my lunch. TikTok, talk your tick. I don't care. It don't make a lick of difference. Well, I heard you have a Falcon 900 too. Yes. You mean you got 2 jets? You got 2 cars? You have 2 cars? Look at me. I'm talking to you out there. Do you have 2 cars?
No.
You have 2 cars.
I don't.
Because your wife wants one.
I ride a bike. I ride a bike to the gym. That's why, with all due respect, this guy can fly. He can fly on 2 different planes. One for him and one for his wife when she goes off to get, her back blown out by whoever she pays for that service, But I can see my dick without using a mirror. And I think that goes a little bit farther in the kingdom of God. I have approximately 1 ab I've been working on. As opposed to whatever. This dude looks like a Danny DeVito character. Like a Danny DeVito script got struck by lightning, and this dude just creepy crawled out of the pages, right out into the real world. See, sounds kind of Protestant. I had a teacher who celebrated her birthday twice, her actual birthday and the day she got saved. I knew somebody who did that 3 times. That was somebody I was in the Marines with, and it was they got saved, right, or whatever the fuck, and then they got like addicted to drugs or something, and then got saved again. So they got their birthday, the time they got saved, and then they got the mulligan. They get the mulligan on there too, which is fucking wild. Like that's great. I mean, indulge. That kind of sounds like that sounds like the kind of Protestant that names their kids something like Thunder or Autumn. It's like Xander now. Xander's a name that was like a gay porn star name when I was a kid, which is no shade to the gay porn stars. But if you were like, my name's Xander, and you were an adult in like 1999, 2003, people are like, oh, so are you from the pornography business? Do you do the adult films with other guys? And you'd be like, yeah, because my name's fucking Xander and it's 2003. Like, what the fuck? But now it's like a little kid's name. They name all these kids like there's two disciplines, right, of naming your child. If you're a WASP in America, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, in 2023, you go one of 2 directions. You either go gay porn star name from the 1990s, or you name your kid an American Gladiator name. So it's like Blazer, Stone, Lightning, Slater, or it's like Bruce, Bruce Xander, Deckard. Deckard is like a great name too. Deckard Cain is like the main character, and I wanted to say Blade Runner because Blade Runner is the correct answer. Holy shit, that just popped in my head. But I was going to say, do androids dream of electronic sheep? And I almost said that like 15 times, and I said it anyway. But I respect that. The 2 weirdest things about Christianity is how there's like 200,000 different churches packed within the same city. Judaism and paganism and shit are so much better about it. I mean, I guess Judaism. I don't know. I think they just keep all of their schisms to themselves. They don't let the non Jewish people know about like all of their different denominations. I know they have a few, like they have the Hasids and all that. But like, with the Protestantism is just fucking is everywhere. Like, we had like a good old fashioned normal schism in the Catholic Church. We have Orthodox Catholics, Greek, Russian, kind of like that just little line, right? You know, up through like Byzantium and all that shit. And then you have like the Roman Catholics, which is all the rest of Europe. And then you had, that was like basically it. And the Roman Catholics pretty much ran shit. And then they overstepped their bounds. Henry VIII wanted to get a divorce. Martin Luther King had 99 problems. Bitch want one. Henry VIII provided the bitch. That was 100 total problems. Protestantism happened. And now we have fucking everything. If I can just name off the top of my head, denominations, we just start with Catholicism. Just basic, normal Catholicism. Even it is split into like German, Roman, Irish types of variants of Catholicism that are kind of like all over the place. Then we got Church of England Protestantism, General Protestantism, Lutheranism, Maccabism. I think Maccabism is one. Presbyterians. We're the Presbyters. We have the Jacobites. We have the actual. I can only almost remember the other types of Mormons. The Mennonites. There we go. Then in America, we have the divisions of Methodist, Baptist, Southern Methodist, Southern Baptist. We have Mormons, the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. We have Jehovah's Witnesses, as mentioned earlier. We have, I said them earlier, the not Protestants, but the Pentecostals. We have Pentecostals. Korean Catholics, which is like a whole sub-denomination of Catholic churches that exist. If you know about them, well, you'll start seeing them. There's just Korean Catholic churches. And there's probably a bunch of other ones that I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But that's like, what, 15 denominations? Like, Episcopalians, there's another one. Shit. Opus Dei Catholics, Jesuits, Coptic Christians. I think Russian Orthodox actually is different than Greek Orthodox because it's the Russian state church. Man, I think I almost got I almost got to like 10% of the total. And then if you actually get out into America, like what we call, like, you'll hear the word evangelical, but it actually doesn't mean any specific thing. Evangelicalism is kind of like Black Lives Matter, in that it's like a movement that is fundamentally just made out of diasporic different ideas, right? And so like you'll just have like some random Methodist church, right? It'll say like First Methodist, but it's an evangelical church that preaches evangelism, right? So like saving people, going out, doing this and that, and blah 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 blah. And they're just out there. And then you have the super giant the churches, and a lot of these ones, they don't even have a denominational marker anymore. You just hear it's just called like Sacred Heart Church, or like like Heartbeats Ministry, Third Tier Ministry, Spirits and Bubbly Ministry, I don't know, Pop the Champagne Ministry. It's fucking wild. And all of those things fall generally under the evangelical Christian banner. And the one thing that they all agree on is that evangelicals should be in charge of everything, bar none. There should be no separation of church and state. Religious institutions should be completely exempt from taxes, which is why we have shit like these guys. And in a general sense, just that sin is bad, and that sin is anything that gives them the ick. If they get an ick, that's a sin. It doesn't matter if it's in the book. They're never going to read the Bible. They don't care that it even exists. There's no more irritating thing to the evangelical mind than the existence of literate people and the Bible. The Bible is just it's a whoops-a-daisy from the early days of the church. It means nothing. It's got a bunch of extra fucking words in it. You really only need like 2 or 3 passages. Everything else can be discarded. All you need to know is that I got to get that payday, and that's how we get to these prosperity preachers.
You say, I know these scriptures. Where your money at then? If you know them so goddamn much, where your money at? Why you ain't out of debt? You want to talk you just want to talk to me about scripture. I'm talking about manifestation and demonstration. You want to quote the scripture back to me. I know that scripture. No, you don't know it. You don't know it till you're wearing it.
Didn't it just happen? Did it just literally just happen? What I was talking about just occurs in the next video.
Up to the meeting the other night, as if you know. I know what he's talking about. No, you don't know what I'm talking about. You haven't arrived yet. Don't set your in. This is no Bible quoting committee.
The fuck is the point of it then? It's a church. It's literally for Bible quoting. You know, like there's rules for the mass like laid down in the Bible that you're supposed to do, and it's basically like break bread. You know, do you don't have to do transubstantiation necessarily. You do if you're the Catholic Church. You have to believe literally in transubstantiation, which is like if you eat that bread and that blood, that shit, you're doing cannibalism. Based. I hate these preachers so much. How can you not? But like, yeah, there's rules for the mass that are like laid down. I went to religious school, so I had to fucking like know all this stuff. Like Jesus was like, yeah, this is what you got to do so that people don't go off and do crazy shit. Like no more killing animals. It's passé. God does not need you to set any carcasses on fire, but you do have to like read a few passages from the book. You've got to read like the Our Father, a few passages from the book, do a greeting to everybody. You have to do the breaking of bread is literally, you're supposed to bring everyone there and feed them. That's the kind of like we push that one by the wayside, not as important anymore. You're actually supposed to bring everybody to mass and literally feed them bread and wine. Like you're supposed to on Sunday, morning at church, have a full belly by the time you go on with the rest of the day, which you're never going to see a single Christian ever push for at their fucking church. The thought is repugnant. Bring it up to them. Bring it up to any of them, and they'll be like, wait, what? Like, yeah, the Last Supper, when they had you're redoing the Last Supper in honor of Jesus, the guy who fed the poor and healed the sick. You're feeding everybody in your church. And they'll go like, no, that's done. Why would you do that? That's stupid. Jesus wouldn't want us to do that. Jesus wouldn't want you to gather everybody together in his name on the holiest day of the week and feed them for free. Jesus Christ, fishes and loaves, manna from heaven, eat of this is my body, I give it up to you. An act of pure, selfless generosity, feeding people. Jesus wouldn't want that. Jesus, you know what Jesus wants? He wants a fucking rolly, bitch. Jesus wants a rolly, bitch. Jesus wants some fucking Maybachs, bitch. Jesus wants a white horse. By a white horse, he meant he was coming back on a fucking Falcon X10 loaded with cocaine and champagne. Were you out of your fucking mind? No. Tell him that. Literally bring that up to any religious person, any religious Christian. That's your fucking homework assignment. Did you know that Sunday when you're doing the breaking the bread and sharing the bread and wine, that's actually, you're supposed to feed the whole parish? And they'll go like, that's impossible. Think about how much better it would be. Think about how much different. You think if you were just we'll workshop this. If you were starting up a religion that you wanted people to join in a drought and hunger-stricken area, what would be a good way to get them to show up? Would you maybe give away free bread and wine? Tell them there'd be punch and pie. We would understand there would be punch and pie. Fun fact, by the way, if you actually read the Bible the way it would have originally been read, it actually isn't a monotheistic theology. Oh, really? I didn't know they'd get away with this. Yeah, it's a monolatrist, i.e. other gods exist, but people of that faith are only to worship one specific god. Yeah, I've heard that too. It gets wild. And I mean, if really, like, I don't know if you know this, but there's like whole ass books of the Bible that like don't exist on two Bibles in the same shelf, right? Like we have the Catholic Bible in the Catholic Church, and everybody else, the dummies, have the fucking King James Bible. Where King James was like, scrub some shit, get rid of some of that stuff. And even the Catholic Bible is stripped down from the original Bible as of like, it was a meeting of some, I can't remember what the fuck, but it happened in like 622 AD or something when the church was actually like establishing canon. It was the establishment of the beginning of Catholic canon, which I should actually start doing research streams on Catholicism, because I swear to God, people will get fucking, you guys will get fired up. First off, Protestantism can, if you want to be not any religion, be not Catholic, because that shit goes so fucking hard. Warhammer 40K isn't based on mega churches and shit. It's based on motherfucking Catholicism. Bloodshed, cannibalism, fucking misabuse of power, and just gigantic cathedrals to wealth and profane worship of a god literally silenced and living in the hell of knowing all of his followers like exist opposite his desires for them. Catholicism, money. But yeah, the original, like, there's like fucking 10 books of Apocrypha or something like that, 6. A lot of them are like anything that says like nice shit about women, the stuff that's like, hey, women are cool to like basically run stuff. You know, like Mary also had a book. They're like, get rid of all that. Get rid of all that shit. Oh man, it's great. Religion.
I feel that people, they get complacent. Man, sister, I know that. You don't know nothing.
That's right.
You say, I know these scriptures.
I live in the biggest house in the state of Louisiana. I have the biggest house of any preacher in America.
And that is a guarantee. 100 to 1 odds. This motherfucker right here was built by slaves. That's a dead ass. Dead ass. I won't hear it. I won't hear it. If that's not a slave house, I'd be fucking stunned. I guess he got himself some new ones.
And I was out there.
Here we go. This is the king himself. If you guys don't know who this is Kenneth Copeland. Quite literally one of the most unhinged human beings to have ever fucking existed. If you stabbed this guy in the fucking head, there's no human things that would come out. You would probably, his skin would part, his bones would explode away, and just some blackened, oil-laced thing with needle teeth and a hollow, blood-drinking tongue would just creep forward into the world on a trail of smoke and putrid slime, and it would devour you from the fucking toes up. He's the interesting guy, to say the least.
And I was out there one day, and I pulled it out of the hanger.
See if you can get through this without being weird.
Just polishing it. And these two young men came up there, and they're both preacher boys, you know. Came up and said, Brother Copeland, is that the new airplane? I said, well, it's not new, but it's new to me. They said, oh, think about that. The Lord's airplane. I said, no, it isn't. Huh? I said, no, this doesn't belong to the Lord. He gave it to me. I dedicated it to him, but it's mine.
He said, don't say that this is God's airplane. My man took a fucking airplane from God. If there's a devil, it has to be him. Or one of these other guys. Like, these people will talk about fucking antichrists and all that shit, and the sign of the Antichrist is coming, brother. I swear to God, the Antichrist is here. He's upon us. And it's never just the most obvious fucking answer.
In fact, I have a feeling that somebody watching me right now, I have a feeling that somebody that wants a credit card debt wiped out, that if you'll use your faith as you sow the 1,000 on a credit card, as you use your faith, God's going to wipe out your credit card indebtedness.
So if you guys don't understand what's going on, so this is prosperity gospel, by the way. I don't know if I articulated what that is. I don't particularly care for the nuances of it, because it's just hucksterism. Generally, there's no part of the Bible that actually justifies any of this shit. But they'll have cobbled together some horrific patchwork of this and thatery to have justified their absolutely pernicious deeds. But basically what they do is they talk to people that were born in like the World War II era who have what we generally refer to as fetal alcohol syndrome and lead poisoning from breathing in poisonous air for like 40, 50 years. If you talk to a lot of people that, they're in the middle of America, especially where the EPA can't get its nightmarish tendrils into, the people out there can be unfathomably stupid. There's dumb people everywhere, right? But there's something about the deep Midwest where you can find just some of the most uniquely, profoundly dumb human beings you've ever met. I think maybe they're actually like everywhere too, but there's just nowhere for them to hide. They just end up in charge of shit and like in public facing positions they would never be permitted anywhere near in most major cities. But like out there you can actually like talk, and it's like, okay, I kind of get it. And what this dude's telling people basically, and this is the whole of prosperity preaching, is that if you just give them money, right, that's sowing a seed of prosperity. They've got some justification for it that will come back to you, right? So basically what this dude is telling you is to make an investment. He's re-articulating the concept of investment, but allowing you to, instead of researching a materialist way to spend your money, he's just playing on your faith, which is your just propensity to believe anything you're fucking told. If you are a person of faith, you're a person who generally just believes shit because people tell it to you and it feels right. You're stupid more than likely. Like, you're probably a fucking idiot. We'll get that off the table. You're probably dumb as fuck. I don't mind that. It's okay for you to be fucking stupid. Just understand that about yourself. It's easy for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how nice of a job you have. It doesn't matter who likes you in life. You're gullible. You're a fucking idiot. You're a moron. You're a mook. You're a rube. You're a stooge. You're a stoolie. More than likely, people have fucking run games on you before. It's not hard to do. I could do this tomorrow, but I literally wouldn't be able to live with myself. You just wake up and you start doing it. If you want to, if you're out there right now and you don't believe me, you don't believe that the fucking swindle is there, try to do it yourself. Just start fucking calling up random old people in your town and telling them, like, I was driven to you. You half of them are so fucking out of their minds and brain dead that you can give them to like give up information about themselves anyway. And you just say like, the Lord has sent me in your direction. And I know you didn't expect this call, but I feel like you did expect this call. I think in my mind, in your mind and in your heart, you can feel you heard my voice. I know you've heard my voice. You've heard my voice in a dream. You have heard my voice when you close your eyes. You have heard it when you are in times of peril. You have heard my voice, and I am speaking to you again because I was called to you here today. You have a debt. You have a great debt upon you. You have it wears on your soul. I think it is, and they'll say, I do have a little bit of credit card debt. Oh, I am 85 years old in America. I have at some point accrued an insane amount of debt. And then you say, I think this is the moment I have been looking for just $50. Do you have $50? Do you have a credit card? Do you have EBT? Do you have a checking account? Do you have a letter on your person right now? I'm going to give you an address. If you send just send $5 of those dollars. I think you could do 50. If you can't do 50, just do $5 of those dollars. Just $5 of those dollars right now. Hold your fingers up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy as that. You close those fingers around the future right now. You've seeded your money. You've seeded your money into the ground. Understand, I'm the voice. I am the voice you've heard. I know it because I heard your voice too. You are calling to me, and I heard you, and I'm returning to you. You send that money to me, and I know it. I feel it. And that debt will be erased. Maybe not today. We might just be taking a chunk out of it. Again, your name is Martha. Martha? No. Jermaine. I was you. I called it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it, right? It's a swindle. You put it on, you take it off, man. It's a fucking confidence game. Like, it blows my mind that people fall for it, but only because I try to hold other people to, like, a spiritually higher standard. Man, damn, Preacher Tyler is pretty great. Dude, I think it's one of the easiest things to do. It's like, you just do it. It's fake bullshit. Ugh, it's actually kind of gross. It's in my fucking, like, neck. Ugh. Oh, man. But yeah, like, that's the whole game. That's the whole swindle. And these people make a ton of money off of it. You won't see, like, a lot of young people in these crowds. And if you do, generally they're either in on the swindle, they have some sort of spiritual or mental damage that they've never been able to get over. They're broken inside. Former addicts, people with severe emotional or mental trauma that, you know, they expose themselves to these people as being weak in that way, and they provide them a degree of surety, a crutch on which to lean to some degree, and, you know, that small bit of support that they give them is returned 10, 15 fold with, you know, the slavish devotion, money, whatever you can think of. And that's the vibe, man. That's the vibe. The good thing is people, as concentrated as this kind of stuff is, because people are generally leaving the more sane churches, you know, just normal day-to-day churches, because that's the first kind of person that's going to leave a church, is just a normal church. Like, the one that I grew up going to, St. Jude's, was just a lot of, like, middle class, working class type people who went to church on Sundays and were like, you know, I'm here because my grandma and my great grandma and my great great grandma will be butthurt if they find out that I didn't go. And so I go on Sundays, and, like, maybe my kid will too. And then we just kind of stopped going because my dad works 7 days a week, and he did not like getting up before he had to go put in a 12-hour shift at a fucking restaurant, you know, and then have to go to church too, because that's just too much to deal with. And so, like, you kind of you gravitate away from those, because those are, like, you know, you got a fucking job, you got, like, a life and shit. But these kind of churches are full of already sick people. It's a standard swindler's gambit. You make it so extreme that people can't look away from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when Bernie Madoff comes to people to swindle them with the fucking Madoff scams, you know, the Ponzi scheme, he doesn't say, like, man, I can make you like $5. Like, dude, I think I came to you. It's the same fucking language every time. It won't sound like spirits. It'll sound like whatever the fuck appeals to this person. You know, I was in a meeting and your name came up. Now, I know we don't know each other personally, but you're John Cartwright? John Cartwright, yeah. Do you know Bill over at Pfizer? He's a third level. Yeah, Bill, he gave me your name. You guys have the same broker. Isn't that crazy? And I am actually with, you know, SP&R. That's a different brokerage. It's out on the south side of Manhattan. We have to walk all the way to the business district. You know, we're small and we're a little scrappy, but we're also pretty selective with our clientele. And your name came up. I heard that you are a very savvy investor, and you like some big tickets. They're a little risky. I won't lie to you, but our last payback, and you can check with Sam. He actually, who gave me your name, he said that, you know, you're into this. We took $1,500 from him, just $1,500, and we turned that into $50,000. 3-month turnaround, interest only. His money's still in the pot. He hasn't cashed out yet. That's a dividend. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I'll tell you what, every good thing does, doesn't it? You know, I won't bug you with it. You enjoy your dinner. This is your wife. She's great, wonderful, beautiful lady, by the way. I'll send a friend of mine over some champagne, a letter of introduction. I know you work over, like you're saying, at Pfizer. Yes, okay. Well, I'll catch up with you on Monday, and that's how it fucking starts. Like, it's just a seed. He's the one that's planting it, you know, and then you just maul him. So you wash it down. Wash it down with some slutty bagel. Tyler got to wash away the sleaze and the grease now. I'm glad I got a shower before my shit would just be slipping off my ears. I'm surprised you never mentioned the slight cream action at this point. Oh shit, I don't have anything on my face, do I? That'd be very embarrassing. But man, yeah, these guys are just they're just fucking scumbags, you know.
It's worth every nickel and dime.
I feel like sometimes when you just you hit a certain level of the grift, it stops being about making more money and just becomes like, hey, can I do this one-handed? You know, like at this point, these guys are just playing. They're just playing the fucking guitar over the back of their arm or over the back of their neck. You know what I mean? It's like I've got the chords down. This is just basic ass shit. This is basic ass shit to me anymore. It's not even hard. I'm gonna literally be up here talking about how rich I am and hiss at people, and then they're still gonna send me an unfathomable fucking amount of money, like just an insanely, profanely large amount of cash. It's unfathomable how mad this is, and it's all possible because of tax breaks. They wouldn't be able to keep anywhere near this amount of money if it wasn't for the fact that there's a billion fucking church loopholes that these guys pay to get expanded and added onto. And they use their sizable flock of morons to expand those loopholes too, so they don't have to pay taxes. When these guys make $1, they keep their dollar, and they have this ostentatious wealth, and then they preach to people who literally don't have a pot to piss in, and are so gang busted by life and by just this dead American dream that we're all fucking swimming about in the carcass of, that they just want to give them more money. You know, they just can't think of a way out of it, and through that desperation and immiseration, these parasites fucking enrich themselves.
Like and subscribe.